Army Black Hawk helicopter as well as all 64 people on the American Airlines passenger flight when the aircrafts collided over the Potomac River near Ronald Reagan National Airport. During a panel on Thursday, July 31st, officials said that the crew in the helicopter likely believed they were flying lower than they really were, and that some of the Army helicopter's altimeter readers, which help pilots understand how high an aircraft is flying, were inaccurate. When the crash took place, the helicopter was far above its 200-foot limit. U.S. Army Chief Warrant Officer 5 David Van Vechten Jr. also defended the pilots from his organization while being questioned by the NTSB about his interpretation of a FAA helicopter route chart for the area showing recommended route altitudes. The chart showed both a recommended maximum and minimum, as well as a recommended figure, which Van Vechten acknowledged was confusing, with conflicting information. But the 12th Aviation pilots were trained to fly as close to the maximum as charted in accordance with AP, the area planning guide in the flight information publication, trying to maintain that altitude as best you can, he said. When asked by the NTSB, "So to be clear, your interpretation of that legend is that 200 feet is a maximum altitude and that's what Army pilots would fly," he replied. "Yes. However, we're never under the assumption that it was 200 plus or minus zero," Van Vechten continued. "I mean, we would try not to go over the altitude obviously, but nobody is perfect and there are certain situations where you would go above or below it." According to an NTSB presentation shown as part of the hearings, the helicopter's crew had discussed their altitude during the doomed flight, though flaws in the altimeter readings could have prevented them from understanding the true danger they were in. At one point, Chief Warrant Officer 2 Andrew Eves, reportedly the instructor on the flight, told Captain Rebecca Lobach to come down to 200 feet because they were at an altitude of 300 feet. During the first day of testimony, U.S. Army Chief Warrant Officer Kylene Lewis said that an 80 to 100-foot discrepancy in the readings wouldn't have normally raised eyebrows. On Thursday, Rick Dressler, an official with Metro Aviation, a medevac operator, specifically expressed concern with the Army's 12th Aviation Battalion and its gross misunderstandings of the airspace. The Black Hawk helicopter involved in the January 29th crash was a part of that battalion. "I'm certainly not saying anything about bad piloting or good piloting," Dressler said, but noted that the 12th Battalion stopped participating in quarterly fly-ins hosted by Prince George's County after the battalion underwent a commander change. At those meetings, knowledge was shared from people like the PG County Chief Pilot, who has 38 years of experience, Dressler said. "I think it's important to train military members so they truly understand how the airspace works." The FAA also underwent intense questioning during Thursday's hearing, with a specific emphasis on the agency's delay in drug and alcohol testing for air traffic controllers who were working at the time of the crash. The recommended window for resting air traffic controllers is 2 to 8 hours after a fatal crash, but in this case, while the decision to test occurred 4 hours after the event, actual testing didn't occur until the following day. The results of those tests was not specified during the hearing. FAA Acting Deputy Chief Operating Officer of Operations Nick Fuller said that the agency didn't test its air traffic controllers sooner because they were holding out hopes it was a rescue operation and there was not a confirmed fatality. The line of thinking did not sit well with the NTSB's Dr. Catherine Wilson. "I understand that maybe there could have been some survivors, let's say, and you were holding out hope, but the potential for serious injuries is also a reason to drug and alcohol test," Wilson told Fuller. "I feel like it was so obvious so quickly that we had a major event." Later, while revisiting the lapse in drug testing after the crash on Thursday evening, Inman appeared to cast doubt on the FAA's explanation for why they waited to conduct testing, noting there were 2 confirmed fatalities 20 minutes after the crash. "Within an hour, there were 10. I had to look over 21 body bags right then." "You're telling me you didn't know a fatality occurred?" Inman asked. The hearings will conclude on Friday, August 1st.